good day, good day. Today is February 9th. It's Friday, 2024. And I'm just browsing through on the website, interacting with some of you members to your questions that you have pertaining to the courses. I got a private client who sent me a question in regards to the foreign driver's license, right? With an international driving permit, stating that that might be a better solution opposed to providing a standard driver's license that's issued from the state. Now, there are so many factors to this. There really is. You have heard me at one time, back in our Patreon days, we've offered the foreign driver's license that was issued out of Panama. You have a contact that can provide that for you, and he is still in operation today. Some of the members were not fully prepared on how to conduct themselves during a traffic stop. And I noticed that this was a recurring thing, regardless of the information I gave on how to handle yourself. So, in addition to that, this is a private order. Our organization has nothing to do with it. So when you submit your order, it takes time, and it can take anywhere from, I've seen, 4 to 8 months. And if you are someone that needs it right now, that may not be the best option. So we have nothing to do with it, and therefore I decided to take it down as far as us providing that. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't go out into the world and get it for yourself, and from any other company that may be giving it, or from other countries. All I can say is, from my experience utilizing this vendor for the Panama ID, it has served me well because I have studied on how to conduct myself during a traffic stop. Everyone has to do that for themselves. You have to learn how to speak for yourself in everything when it comes to this trust process. Okay. So with that being said, I want to share with you the conversation that we had with the private client online here, and just kind of go into what are the best options when it comes to that foreign driver's license. So his question is, Avery, just thinking out loud, if using the foreign driver's license, would it be a better idea to present the passport card as identification rather than the passport? So I believe what he's saying is it better to use the foreign driver's license instead of the passport, because in Iowa, a quick thinking officer would look at your passport to see the entry date into the United States and use that time to show you were in the country 6 months, a year, or whatever. Thanks for your opinion. Yeah, if you give them the book, they'll see the entry points, but you also want to get the card. I know some people that drive around with just the USA passport card, and they're on the injunction list. They did not do their title of nobility name change. They just have their regular birth name in the passport card on the injunction. Their car is registered in trust, so therefore the person that owns the car is the trustee. They've presented themselves as someone who is just borrowing the car, and with those elements, they were able to walk away successfully. And this is speeding, running a light, or tail light is out, maybe swerving a little bit. All of that, they have been able to use just the passport card with the injunction and the car registered in trust to fully protect themselves. So that's that. So let's say you don't have the card and you just have a book on you and you want to provide that. Well, then yes, they will kind of look at the entry dates. The thing here, when it comes to immigration, officers cannot question you on immigration during a traffic stop. But if you are crossing the border, AKA a port of entry, then they can ask for it. So for example, here in this website, aclu.org, they give you insight on your rights. So it says here, your rights, you have the right to remain silent and do not have to discuss your immigration or citizenship status with police, immigration agents, or other officials. Anything you tell an officer can later be used against you in immigration court. If you are a U.S. citizen and an immigration agent requests your immigration papers, you must show them. I'm sorry, if you're not a U.S. citizen and an immigration agent requests your immigration papers, you must show them if you have them with you. Okay. Go down here a little bit more. It says, if you are driving and are pulled over, the officer can require you to show your license, vehicle registrations, and proof of insurance. The Trinity, the big three. That's all you need to worry about if you are not going through a port or border control. But you don't have to answer questions about your immigration status. And that's true. You have to know your rights on that. Okay. There has to be probable cause if they are asking for it. And if they say they have probable cause, then they need to present to you an affidavit of complaint that has been electronically filed in their computer system with the courts to spit back an approval from the magistrate, clerk of court, or whoever at the time can provide their seal, and attach it and give it to you on the side of the road. Say, here's my probable cause. I would like to proceed. Ask you further questions, investigate your car, because that affidavit of complaint needs to be connected to your summons if you get a summons. That's the standard rules of court, and it is constitutional Bill of Rights. That's why that is here. So with that being said, we'll go back to the question in my answer. So I said officers are not supposed to ask you for immigration status. Now, here's my personal experience. I have used my Panama foreign driver's license with international driving permit with the Florida officer and was asked, why am I here and for how long? Now, of course, I knew he wasn't supposed to ask that question, but I played along anyway. So my response was, I have dual citizenship. I'm a Californian-born native. I live in Panama, and my work in consulting requires me to visit a few weeks out of the year. Now, in saying that, I knew I failed his residence control test. What is that? You need to know what that is in any state that you are traveling in with this specific type of information that you're presenting the officer. So in Florida, it says new Florida residents must obtain a valid Florida driver's license within 30 days of establishing residency in order to legally drive in Florida. So when I told him that I'm only required to come to the States for a few weeks out of the year, I'm never presenting the assumption that I'm staying here for more than 30 days. A lot of times they like to prove that you are here if you give them registration, and the registration has a permanent address that is connected to the name you're presenting to them. So that's why it's so important to have your automobile registered in trust. It's got a foreign address connected to it. There's also a U.S. mailing address that is for your trustee. Okay, so that is the best way to handle yourself when you're doing a traffic stop. So let me continue. Then they run both names in the system. Now I'm talking about, for me, when I gave him my Panama ID, it had my title nobility name on there. And it also had the title nobility name on my passport card, because I'm saying I have dual citizenship. Here's the USA passport card with the title nobility name, and here's the foreign driver's license with an international driving permit in the same name, title nobility name. This is the legal name change name that you all know about in the course. So they ran both names in the system to see my title nobility, and the name actually has a record. Well, they want to see if the name actually has a record so they can connect it to the residence test, okay? Which it doesn't, and the only thing that shows up is the injunction. I don't have any confirmation of that when I am pulled over during a traffic stop, but you know, it is the only thing that gets the officer to cooperate. Especially if I'm speeding, my tail lights are out, I'm swerving, I run a stop sign, I do a California stop, any of those things to cause them to get quote unquote probable cause. In any given situation, you know that's an easy ticket or a warning. It's it's a coincidence. It cannot be a coincidence that we're getting warnings every single time. So they must be seeing something in the system when they pull up your name. And that's exactly what you want. And so they tell me, have a nice day. So even though Panama is not on the Geneva or Vienna Road and Traffic Convention, right? I've showed you guys that in the past. Here is the Geneva, September 19th, 1949. Panama is not here on the face, right? And so from that was also another reason why I said don't use it, especially if you don't know how to coordinate yourself on the road. Go after getting a private driver's license from the DMV. There is such a thing. There is such a thing where you can have a private driver's license from the DMV and operate in the public, but privately. You look like everybody else, but you're not. It's only up until when they run the information. Hence the power of the injunction with that. However, you know, this is the Geneva, and then we also have the Vienna, November 8, 1968, my Gregorian calendar birthday. Nothing is here when it comes to Panama. And so what do you do? Like I said, you can do a private DMV license. However, you still have an option to use your Panama foreign driver's license with the Panama international driving permit. Yes, you can still use it. You do your research deep enough, you can still use it. There are what's called multilateral, multi-international annexes to these conventions where other countries that are not on the list have been added for certain restrictions. And the restrictions are the type of vehicle that you're driving. So if you're having a standard automobile that you can purchase here within the United States, a standard truck, or a standard automobile or standard truck up to about 10,000 pounds, you can use the foreign driver's license and international driving permit issued out of Panama for those automobiles under the annex. But if you're utilizing for a semi truck, most likely you need a commercial driver's license that's issued out of the DMV in order to keep your job. So I would recommend that you go the private driver's license method if you absolutely have to have a license to drive. At that point, you are considered a statutory driver. I know traveling is a universal right, which is private, but driving is a state privilege, which is public, and you need your job as an employee of the state to earn your income. So you need to get your commercial driver's license, but get it privately. So I'll talk about that annex document a little bit later, but I want to finish what I was saying here. So even though Panama is not on the Geneva or Vienna Road and Traffic Convention, the officers still have to adhere to basic foreign operations. Now, on the other hand, if a person does not want to go through that and decides not to get a foreign driver's license, then they must do a legal name change in court. Use the court order, update their passport with the U.S. Department of State. This method requires giving your social security number on the application so they can properly identify your records and update your records. But you must enter the SSN as bracket. You have to put the four-corner rule around each of the numbers of the social security on the application. Because if you have a name change and the order shows your name was once this and it is now this, right? You have to give your social inside of the case for it to be updated, even if you provide an explanatory statement with that case. The social security number is in somewhat shape or form attached to the case. And then you try to give that court order to the passport division, trying to update your older passport, which has the social on the record anyway. And if you don't give provide your social on the application, they're not going to approve it. They're going to say, well, you need to sign a document that says this new name was never issued a social security number. You can try that all you want, but the court order says the old name was connected to this social and it is now known as this new name. Just put the brackets around the social. They'll update everything and you'll get your new passport and your title of nobility. Like I said, people drive around with just that. But in my experience, I would much rather you give a document to the officers that understand what it is to reduce conflict. So from there, you can also get a private DMV license in the title nobility name. What is that process like? You go to the DMV, you give them your application, you put the brackets around your social, and you also attach a certified copy of your passport application and the court order information to show, to make sure you attach the explanatory statements from the court order that shows you're a national but not a U.S. citizen, according to Public Law 94-241. All of that will become a part of your driving record. Okay. The only other method that will allow you to change your name with the United States Department of State without a court order. Here it is. It's a birth announcement, a county no record statement, a Social Security ineligibility letter with the DS-10 and a new DS-11. Those things need to go together in order for you to get a passport in the title of nobility name without providing a birth certificate and without providing a social security number. Well, I'll be showing you that pretty soon. In the webinar, you'll see how I did it. Okay, but take your time with this information. Learn to grasp this information. So this next document I want to share with you, let's say you went and you have your foreign driver's license issued out of Panama. And this is the application over here to get your international driving permit that goes with it. If we go down to, there's a section here that talks about dual citizenship right here for the private traveler. It says no intelligent man or woman with good common sense should place all of their allegiance or assets under any one single flag. Why? Because no country or government has ever survived any more than a few generations without totally annihilating itself or its own middle and upper classes. Even in the world's last bastion of capitalism, the USA, people of property have many times been forced to flee the country, usually in times of war. Right now, 5 million of the wealthiest and most productive Americans in the world live abroad, and 85% of all liquid private wealth is anonymously registered offshore. I recommend that, of course. We're setting up businesses over in Dubai for clientele that want to establish bank accounts over in Dubai, and also to get foreign driver's license over in Dubai. So we'll be working on that to present to you guys as well. So it says, don't feel as if you have to place all of your nest eggs in one basket. By acquiring dual citizenship, investing globally, and becoming a multinational, you can remove yourself from the control and jurisdiction of any single government, which, by the way, may be the single most important factor for an aspiring private national or private traveler. Furthermore, having multiple nationalities is one of the main factors that leads to a tax-free lifestyle. 2 or more passports will give you the freedom to travel abroad when and where you desire without the worries of a single government dictating your life. And that's true. That's true. I like this this company who provides the international driving permit for you, because they give you insight as to how to operate, how to utilize it when you are pulled over. This is attached to the application. So if you were to go ahead and put in the order for your foreign driver's license, this would come with it. We will provide that for you so you can see that. Now, if you really want to get one, like I said, we're not connected to the source who provides the international driving permit or the license. So you send us your request for it, and we'll send you the information to get that started. We're not affiliated with it. We just recommend it, but that's about it. So for those that have a foreign driver's license out of Panama and an international driving permit, you can use it. You absolutely can use it. You just need to know what I said in the outset, okay? Use the statement that I talked about. If an officer asks you, how are you born here in the United States and yet you have this foreign driver's license? How long have you lived here? When did you arrive? Look, sir, officer, I have dual citizenship. I'm a Californian-born native. I'm a Wisconsinite-born native. I'm a Floridian-born native. I live in Panama. My work in consulting requires me to visit a few weeks out of the year. I'm only here on business. This automobile is, I'm just borrowing it. I didn't want to go to the rental company place. I'm just borrowing it. So here is the foreign driver's license. Here's the international driving permit. Here's the registration that's registered in a trust, and the trustee is connected to it. Also, here is the insurance for this automobile. And also, furthermore, in addition, here is my personal injury protection insurance in my title of nobility name. You need all of that. That's what you need to say if you are pulled over in a traffic stop and you're giving a foreign driver's license. Now, there are some companies, major insurance companies, that provide that, like the one that I have, Progressive, okay, for international license holders. Why? Because they know that foreign nationals will come here and they will go and rent a car. They'll provide their visa. They'll provide their foreign driver's license. They'll provide their international driving permit, but they'll still be charged extremely high from the rental company for insurance before they drive off the lot. So it's cheaper if they were to bring their own insurance to the table. So let's read a little bit here. It says, an IDP supplements your official license and allows you to drive in many countries, including the United States. You can easily apply for an IDP with, go ahead and close this out. You can easily apply with the Department of Motor Vehicles in your home country. Both short-term visitors and long-term expats to the United States can drive on an IDP. However, if you're moving to the US full-time, you may eventually need to make the switch to a US driver's license. And that's true. If you're going to provide a Florida state residence address on these documents, then you need to switch over, because they're going to tell you, like they said here, you've got 30 days to switch it out if you're telling them you live here or you're just long-term staying here for about over 2 months, over 30 days. Yeah, you need to, they're going to give you a citation and say, oh, you should have been switched over to get a Florida license or a New Hampshire license. So you want to avoid that. Okay, you're always visiting and you're always borrowing the car. But Avery, what if my car isn't in trust? It's not paid off. There's a lien holder on it. How do I get that off? Very, very simple. There's such a thing called subsequent liens. You need to place another lien on the vehicle. You can't do it, but your trustee can. Okay. So we'll be coming out with the automobile certificate of trust process. Goes into all of this in more detail. Goes into how to fill out the proper forms with the IRS, with the Secretary of State, with the Department of State or the DMV secretary, and how to get the proper insurance. So that way you can properly give all this information to a traffic stop officer to protect yourself. Okay, so let's continue. Some insurance companies strictly work with US drivers. However, many major companies, including Progressive, are happy to offer car insurance for foreigners in the United States of America who have a recognized foreign license or an international driving permit. Fortunately for you, you will have both. Okay, this is for short-term visitors. Carrying the state minimum car insurance requirement, which is personal injury protection insurance, PIP. Some insurance companies call that non-owner's occupancy or a non-owner's insurance policy. Okay, so yeah, on this page here, you would just click on go online and get an insurance quote. You plug in your foreign driver's license information and they will give you a quote. You pay for it and there you go. You have it. Put it in the glove box. So let me show you that annex document that I was talking about. The Multilateral Convention. This is number 15705. This is the annex to the United Nations Conference on Road and Traffic, concluded at Vienna, November 8th, my Gregorian birth date, I guess. Sorry, I keep saying that. Let me move on. Word search. If we go down to Annex 7, go down for you. And if you want this document, it will be right below this video, there's documents. I try to provide enough links and documents for you all to do your research on your own. Here's Annex 5. That's dealing with domestic. You want to go down to international, and it's going to describe how they want the international driving permit to be in order for it to be lawful. Annex 7, here we go. International driving permit. They give you the size of the booklet requirements. They give you it has to be translated from the native language of the country over to English, Russian, or Spanish. And it has to contain the validity, the issue date, all of that information. Okay, so if we go down and we find the list of territories that this is permitted in, do a word search, Panama, and there you go. For Panama, for Panama, for Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Philippines, Pakistan, Norway, all of these that were once, they were probably a part of the original Geneva or Vienna, but on those websites you will see that they weren't there. Now they are here according to the annex that took place December 23rd, 1969. Okay, because the originals took place 20 years earlier, 1949. Now we've got the annex to the treaties, and you can use Panama. All right. So I hope that has been helpful and answers questions about how to conduct yourself on the road. Can you use the Panama ID? Yes, you can. This will back you up. Let's say you still get a ticket for whatever reason after you've provided all this information for speeding. Well, you will simply bring in this treaty in your case to dismiss that traffic ticket. And of course, you got to put in motion for discovery within 3 days. File that quickly. It's a contract. They're contracting with you on the side of a public easement. So, and it's really an invalid contract. There was no affidavit of complaint connected to it, but you're still going to use all of that evidence in your favor and do it within the 72-hour rule. Let's say we're talking about a mortgage. There is the Truth in Lending Act that says that you have the right to cancel that mortgage within 72 hours. That is standard contractual law under the Uniform Commercial Code. And this applies here because they've given you a citation that is under the CFR dealing with commercial crimes. And so this is considered a commercial crime, but it is not a commercial crime. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to stop it right here. Like I said, I will present more webinars in detail on these subjects so you can properly set yourself up correctly and be able to travel privately on the road. You guys still pay attention to the rules of the road. Do not speed. Do not do anything that's going to attract attention to yourself. Please don't do that. All right. So you guys be good, and I'll see you in the next one.